Serious, casino dealers, what is the craziest thing you have ever witnessed? Not a dealer. I was playing blackjack at the LV Hilton and it was time to shuffle. I left my money with a white female dealer named Donna while I went to the bathroom. While I was gone, there was a dealer change. And now there was a black female dealer named Donna shuffling the cards. I couldn't help myself and said, "Donna, what happened?" ? She just looked at me, howled, and said I turned black. What's sad is that the transformation is irreversible. I once dealt a woman who bought in for around $400 in blackjack and was up to around $10,000 and lost it all back during my shift. That's crazy. I'm not a big gambler, but worst thing I've had happen is I made it up to like $395 from $50 and I said once I hit $400 I'd stop. Went down to $300 and I said screw this and walked away. It's something a lot of people don't understand. You shouldn't just have a limit of how much you're willing to lose, but also a limit of how much you're willing to win. I know it sounds strange when you're up a ton and figure, hey, I'll just put aside X amount so I walk away a winner, no matter what. But gambling is a fickle beast. If you go up to $10,000 in winnings and proceed to go down to $9,000 in winnings, you don't see it as, hey, I'm up $9,000, but I'm down $1,000. Then it becomes a situation of I'll just gamble $1,000 more to make my money back, even though I had pocketed it just this once. Then it becomes $2,000 out of your winnings and keeps going down until you lose it all. My fiancé is a casino dealer. His best worst things from the casino will involve people cheating. The man who just cheats his pants while sitting at the poker table because he doesn't want to miss any hands. You miss them all when security escorts you out of the building. The person who somehow managed to squat in a staff hallway adjacent to the main room and take a sheet right there on the hallway floor. It was discovered when one of the cocktail waitresses came around the corner and slipped on the pile of poo. Screams of "Is that sheet on the floor?" WHO, the duck shat on the ducking floor. Someone shat in a pile on the floor. All y'all in this thread talking about this guy lost money. Sorry, but no. The worst of humanity acts out in foul ways at casinos. It's not pretty. Bonus, my crazy thing as a casino guest, I sat next to some man playing Pay-Go at Caesar's Palace. I was playing $25 hand. He was playing I think $1,000 a hand, max at that table, with the max $100 on the bonus. He gets a royal flush and is paid out $1,000, minus commission, for winning the hand and $15,000, $100 x 150, for the royal. Totally meaningless to him though. He gave me $100 because I wasn't playing the NB bonus and he felt bad. While I was in LV for the first time this year, I took a walk through all the shopping levels and the casino floor of Caesar's Palace. Place is ducking huge. I felt super poor walking past all the designer outlets too. Not a dealer, but I have played a lot of live poker. A few months ago I was sitting at 3/5 table and everyone was more talkative than normal and it was one of the more fun tables I've played at. I was also up around 4x my buy-in, so I was feeling good. Anyways, there was one hand with a guy who was clearly a reg vs a guy who was clearly a tourist just doing this for fun. The action was on the reg after the tourist made a large bet and the reg sits there thinking for a couple minutes all while talking to the tourist trying to get any info out of him. The reg then says, "Mon, just show me one if you want me to call." So the tourist says, "You wanna see one?" Then proceeds to slowly lift up his shirt and show him one nipple. The reg folded instantly after that and the table erupted with laughter. Not a dealer, but I do live across the street from a casino. And once a month go in to make a $20 donation at the penny slots. One night, I watched a husband and wife team playing the machines across the aisle from my friends and I. The wife kept complaining she didn't feel well. Then suddenly keeled over and fell off her chair. My friends and I ran over, asking if she was alright. Casino staff came running. Her loving husband just leaned over to keep hitting the button on her machine. Copying from a previous time I answered a question like this. I worked in a small casino in Prescott, Arizona for a short time. And I remember some regulars losing a few thousand here or there. But they were okay with it because they had the money to lose. I do remember tapping in on a $5 minus $500 table. And there was a guy with a few $100 in front on him. I remember he was just betting weirdly. $5 for 5-10 hands. Then would throw down $50 minus $100 for a hand. He wasn't sharp enough to be counting. He seemed to be doing it to impress the two women at the table. He did get on a bit of streak. And the table was laughing and having a pretty good time. I remember the weird part being that he kept saying that this one is for the kids or this one is so the kids can eat. The impression he gave was that the cash wasn't for his immediate family, but for some charity. I remember him having mixed bills in a standard white envelope, which would lead me to believe that it was some sort of collection. I finally busted him, but he kept going back for more cash until he finally lost it all. On his last bet, the table was awkwardly quiet, and I remember him mumbling something like "come on, I need this" under his breath. I can't remember the hand exactly, but I do remember outdrawing him. He stood there for a second just staring, then bent over and let out a real loud groan and then stormed off. I dealt the next 20 minutes not saying a word, while the ladies judged him for losing money he shouldn't have been gambling. TLDR, guys loses charity's money. Groans and storms off. I was playing blackjack. The hand dealt to me was a clear double down. And before I could put more chips down, some side observer put his own chips there. I made him take his chips back and castigated him, but it seemed like he's done it before. Was he trying to play for himself off your hand, or was he giving you the chips? A friend gave me $10 to bet on a single roulette number. I don't really play the game because it's a sucker bet, but I promised I would. I approached the table, handed in my 10 and got 40 25-cent chips. I counted them, looked at the board, stared the dealer right in the eye and pushed all 40 chips to number 26. The dealer raised an eyebrow, all of it, with as much drama in my voice as I could master. I replied $10. Black 26 inches. Ball landed on 36. How much did you win? My friend's uncle is pretty well off and he is a professional gambler. He will put down 40 grand for a game. Once he got asked last minute to play a tournament. Since he lives in Los Angeles, the casino sent him helicopter and it landed at a hotel. It had him in vegan an hour or so later. Not sure if that counts. Guess they didn't comp him a bunch of free steak dinners then. I don't work for the casino, but play blackjack pretty often. I was playing once when this rich, drunk douchebag came in and started betting $200 a hand at the $15 table. He then proceeded to start cursing when he started losing, but that's because he was doubling on 12s, splitting 10s, and doubling on blackjacks. I stopped playing with him after a few hands because he messed up the cards so much. I just waited for him to finish playing like 6 hands, then he took off when he lost his money. I was playing roulette the cheap way, colors, thirds, columns, when this guy rolls in, dumps a huge pile. Looked like $500 on 0 and hits it. This was European roulette, so no 0-0. He then puts another $500, whatever his first bet amount was. Looked about the same, on 0 again and hits it again. Ducking insane. It's not European roulette. It's just roulette. It's only the US version that is specifically adjusted to duck over more people. I saw a blackjack player spit on the anchor for drawing a card that would have busted the dealer. I would have jumped off my seat if I were the anchor, but then I thought he probably works for the casino and would make the casino liable if he were to retaliate. Anchor? Friend of mine worked as a dealer. One time she busted someone for using a fake $100 note. She did lots of small talk to keep the guy there until the police came. As for me, the craziest thing I saw were 2 of my family members who literally squatted at these poker machines all night to get the jackpot. The amusing thing was, The amount they got didn't cover the amount they put in. So it was rather pointless. Wouldn't security just come in and handle the first person? I work in a casino. But not a dealer. Just in the food court. The nicest, most unexpected thing anyone has done was come up with a $500 coupon. Got $30 worth of food and told me to pay for everyone behind them. I ended up staying at my register for half an hour just going, hey, come here. I've got this coupon someone didn't use all of. What do you have? Aha. Okay, you're good, have a nice day. All my co-workers got some food. And I got a $10 burger and a $6 shake just because we weren't busy enough to give all that out. For the record, coupons in my casino can't be partially used and put on your player's card or redeemed for cash. If you don't use it, it's wasted. An Indian woman tried to spin the roulette ball while I was speaking with the supervisor. Had an old guy cheat himself and it dribbled down his leg as he walked to the bathroom. Another unknown person cheat themselves and kicked it into the pit. One guy didn't leave for 6 days straight. Surveillance followed him on camera for those 6 days. He didn't leave from any exit they could find and couldn't find where he slept. People won and lost tons of money. That isn't crazy. So disregard those stories as they are normal for casinos. We had a biker brawl on the MGF. 2 guys from different clubs just happened to be there for dinner. One saw the other and called his club buddies. The other called his and they started a bit of a Barney. Dealers hid under the tables. Cops were called but they all scarpered before the cops arrived. Had a staff member fall from a balcony after a staff party on premises. He fell 8 floors and died. Staff cleaners had to clean up after the body was removed. A few staff got caught stealing chips. One pit manager was caught with $100K worth of chips. Had a supervisor arrested on the MGF for growing and selling pot. $2 million worth, so he went away for a while. Some bank robbers got arrested on the MGF as one of them was dumb enough to keep his gum on him and it was spotted by staff who called the cops. Casinos are an insane place. I am glad I left years ago and got out of that mentally draining place. Such a negative job. Had one old gentleman have a heart attack and die on the MGF. Black walls were put around him as the ambulance came to got him. Then everything was back to normal. Bonus story. About 6 AM on a Saturday morning. Young guy and his friends were at a bar. Some young exec was there with his mates. Words were exchanged and the exec glassed the young guy in the face. Security got there within 30 secs. Took the exec to the holding room for the cops. All he could say while he was getting dragged off was, "What did I do? I didn't do anything. Stupid hunt. Guessing you're Australian." I'm not a dealer, but I was sitting next to an Arab businessman who went mad and verbally exploded on a different customer who only tried to be nice and help him. So there was a younger guy, maybe 19-20, playing blackjack on the same table as a friend and I plus said businessman. The young guy playing for €5 while the other guy went for table maximum. He was losing hard. Felt like he was rebooing for €1,000 every 5 minutes. So the young guy tried to help him and told him to split his cards cause it would be better. The business guy didn't like that someone playing for only €5 would try to teach him. Which became obvious from his screaming. 4-5 dealers came to the table to cool him down. After he seemingly calmed down a bit, He said I show you how less I care about the opinion from someone like you, and started to play every open place at the table for €5 and lost everything on purpose. I'm talking about wanting more cards when he was at 21. The dealer was so pissed off at that point that he went with it and just kept collecting the jetons till the floor manager told him that he can't just give him more cards after 21 etc. At that point I just left because he started to scream again. TLDR. Rich guy was losing in blackjack. Someone gives him an advice. So rich guy starts losing on purpose to prove a point. I'm guessing the point was that the rich guy was an idiot. Not a dealer. But I was at a table when a 60-year-old woman tried to tip the dealer by flopping her unsightly bob on the table. Oh, you bet I looked. Used to be a croupier for about 5 years. Don't really remember any stories about people being super crazy in the blackjack roulette poker table. You know. Drunk people being classic drunk people. Occasional junkies trying to attack staff or customers. Some idiots trying to cheat or steal. Lots of guys harassing female croupiers. One classy lady throwing up on me. A couple of gypsies telling me they were gonna shoot me after my shift because they lost in the BJ table. But it's stuff that you're expecting will happen. Hilarious and baffling stuff mainly happen with old people and slot machines. They have the craziest theories about how it all works and how you're gonna beat the machine and win. Mind you, I live in a country where all slot machines, casinos etc. are owned by a government-owned monopoly. So basically everything belongs to one company. Also, slot machines are everywhere. Like supermarkets and bars. Not just in casinos. One of the most common ones you see is old people bashing the buttons in the machine in certain order between the rounds. Or putting in coins in certain order. Or anything like that. Really. Some like to kick and hit the machines really ducking hard. After touchscreen slot machines started to appear, some started drawing all kinds of patterns on the screen. I have no idea where they get this stuff from. Because most of them are so ducking old, I bet they don't know how to use the internet. Maybe there's one granny troll making that sheet up and passing it to other grannies. We also had a lot of customers who believe that the machines are designed in a way that they let you win for a while. And then just make you lose every round. This one gentleman I never personally witnessed. But a coworker told me about him. He would play his favorite slot machine. Apparently always the same one. And after he started losing, he took his money down, stepped a few feet back from the machine, waited 10 seconds or so, and then stepped back to the machine and whispered "new player" into the coin slot, and resumed playing. The one man I remember particularly well, because he caught me so off guard, came to ask me how far he would have to travel so that the slot machines would not recognize his playing style. I just went, "What the hell?" in my head. Apologized and told him I didn't understand what he was asking. Apparently this fella had heard from a friend that all slot machines in this country are connected to a network. But because there are so many, they have several networks instead of connecting them all into a single one. And they keep tabs of people's playing styles and how much money they have won. He had been having a good day and wanted to keep winning, but was afraid that the slot machines in our downtown gambling club and the ones in shops and bars nearby would recognize his playing style. He legit asked me if driving to a big gas station X some 30 kilometers away was enough. Or if he had to drive all the way to City Y about 80 kilometers away. I just stared at him with my mouth hanging open and told him the gas station should be enough. Not a casino dealer. Former casino surveillance agent operator, 4+ years in Vegas. 1. At the first place I worked, a well-known rodeo star would come in and get plastered playing BJ. He once got so mad at a busted hand he ripped his cards in half and threw them at the dealer. 2. Check theft on my shift. 2 dudes came in the main doors, reached into the racks on the 2 nearest tables, and took off. They did it during tape change, which was probably intentional. But we still got footage. A fake they were never caught. 3. Next place I worked had a few nightclubs, don't they all? This particular large nightclub backed up to the executive hallway, where the surveillance room was located. I worked graves at this job. The bouncers from this club would bring VIPs into the exec hallway to use the bathroom so they didn't have to pee with the rest of the masses. So people back and forth in front of the room all night was common. And there was a camera outside the surveillance door so we could see who was in our hallway. One night a bouncer comes through with a girl in tow, presses her up against the wall, and they start making out. Things get a little more handsy so I opened the door and said, "Hey, you're on camera here." And they laughed and hustled out. My supervisor was on break at this time. Small room. 2 people on duty. So when he came back I played the footage back for him. The club was owned by another entity and leased space from the casino. So supervisor called the head bouncer and had him review the tape. Head bouncer loses his sheet. The girl was his girlfriend. And he passed her off to one of his underlings to take her to the bathroom. 4. High limit back player in a private room once asked the dealer to pause between hands. He had a couple girls with him. He laid one down on the back table, on her back, and proceeded to dry hump her for a few minutes before resuming his game. 5. Hooker fight at the bar. Territory fight. Weaves pulled out and bobs popping out. These aren't super uncommon. But goddamn if they aren't funny. This was in a bigger room. 4+ people on shift, and we used to joke about creating a hooker fights website. 6. We once saw something being passed between a security guard and a cage employee. This is suspicious because of the cash. Obviously. So we watched a while and finally had someone go check it out. It was an I like you. Do you like me? Note. 7. A roulette dealer overpaid a high roller by about 100k on a winning spin. He had bets all over the layout. And those dealers have to make the calculations quickly. She told her floor supervisor who told her to forget about it. She went to the CSM and the floor lost his job. This particular player dumped the overpayment in slot machines like 2 hours later. So the casino never addressed it with him. 8. Martial arts movie star playing back in a private room for 8+ hours a day. Smoking for every minute of play. Right next to his pregnant wife who stayed with him the whole time. 9. At the last casino I worked at, before I decided not to be a monitor jockey my whole life. We had an investigation going at one of the nightclubs. A lot of cover charges were getting pocketed at the door. The casino owner was in the room with us and watching it all unfold. He ordered that the thieving doorman be pulled up to the room. This is totally against protocol and shouldn't happen. Ever. But it's the owner, you can't say no. He proceeded to show this guy the video and scream in his face for almost 20 minutes, all while chewing on a cigar, about how he'd never be able to even find a fast food job in Nevada after he, the owner, was through with him. 10. Edit for this one I almost forgot. I think I still hold the record in this room for highest live catch. We were watching the vault where the cassettes for the ATM Tito machines were located. These have different denominations, unlike a straight ATM machine, because they cash out the tickets. The guy loading was being suspicious. But he didn't have to wear a jumpsuit like the people in soft count because all that money is already verified. He was moving stacks around in unusual ways that didn't seem to have any purpose. Finally I noticed that he slipped a few $100s out of a 10k strap and slid them under another stack. Then moved stuff again near a paperback book on the counter. We zoomed in and just barely made out the corner of some bills sticking out of the book. My supervisor in the room grabbed a walkie and was screaming to security as he ran down to the vault. The actual surveillance room is far from the vault at this place, and he wanted to get the guy because he was about to take a break. When the vault worker stepped out of the room, my supervisor was waiting there for him and security wasn't far behind. The guy tried to shove the paper back into his pocket and my supervisor took it. They took him into the holding room and waited for gaming. Spreading the cash out on the table, $2,500 in $100s. Gaming arrested him and it took 2 pairs of handcuffs to put his hands behind his back because the guy was too girthy to be cuffed with just 1 pair.